Hello, this is Mario Farina. Today I will read you a story called Stung. This is the picture at the front of the story. The story is available in Smashwords, www.smashwords.com. You can read it free and download it free there. There are also many other stories that you can read free and download free at smashwords.com. Stung. The date was November 23. It was intermission at the Broadway Theater Playhouse. The play in progress was A Holiday for Crime. Eric Spangler was quietly sitting in his seat in the middle of a row near the back of the theater. Most of the audience was enjoying refreshments in the recreation room. 4 police officers quietly walked to where Eric was seated and placed themselves 2 in back of him and 2 in front. One of the officers introduced himself saying, "I'm Chief Austin of the Springdale Police Department. I have a warrant for your arrest. We are armed. Will you come with us quietly?" Obviously surprised, Eric simply nodded his head yes. He rose, joined the 4 officers in the aisle, and the group silently walked out of the theater. There was a police car waiting at the curb. One of the officers opened the back door. 2 officers entered the back seat, squeezing Eric between them. The other 2 lawmen sat in the front seat. The officer in the front passenger seat positioned himself to face Eric. Chief Austin was at the wheel. Once the car was underway, Eric found his voice. "What's going on?" he said. "Where are we going?" "I ain't done nothing." Brad, it's okay to tell him. It was the chief who had spoken. Brad was sitting in the back with Eric. "Mr. Spangler," said Brad, "we've been tailing you for a few days, and you were recognized by a citizen who spotted you at this very same theater. You love stage plays, don't you? We are taking you to the police station a few miles from here, where you will be processed and charged with the crimes that have made you famous and the most detested and wanted criminal in the country." "I'm not Spangler," objected Eric. "You've got me mixed up with somebody else. My name is Joe. Joe Smith. I demand you stop the car and let me out." "You're Spangler, all right. That wig, beard, and mustache aren't fooling anyone. You're the biggest catch this city has ever made. In fact, probably in the entire country. The police have been looking for you for over a year. Somehow you eluded them, but not to that sharp-eyed individual who accurately fingered you. You're in heap big trouble, probably the biggest since John Wilkes Booth. And here you are. Don't you dare make any kind of funny move. We have orders to bring you in alive. But if we have to, we will bring you in dead. And not a lot of people will wonder how you got dead at our hands." "That's enough, Brad," called out Captain Austin. "We need to give him due process before he does get dead. He'll get dead soon enough anyway." "All right, you know who I am. I'm not going to deny it, but I won't get dead, as you clowns put it. My mouthpiece will do the talking for me. Then I'll laugh at you jackasses." "Your mouthpiece, Jack Leno, has already announced that he won't represent you, Eric," responded Brad. "You'll be lucky if you find any attorney who will take your case. You're a very much hated man. If anybody knew you were in this car with us, they would probably stop it and tear you to pieces. You're lucky you're with a group of civilized officers, each of which would like to do that, but are trained not to." That statement seemed to have rattled Eric. He remained silent until the car stopped at the side door of a large brick building. The four officers made sure Eric was in their control as he was led through the door, along a hallway, and into a small room barren of all furniture except a desk and several chairs. Eric was ordered to sit in one of the chairs, which he did. Captain Austin was now sitting behind the desk. There were 3 officers in a semicircle standing behind Eric. We're arresting you for the many crimes that you have or could have committed, which will be documented in due time under the Heinous Crimes Act of 1838. You will be allowed to talk to an attorney appointed by Judge Wilson. This attorney, Michael Stewart, will be the only one that will be able to defend you, since he is the only one that has agreed to do this. After he has spent half an hour with you, he will take you into the courtroom in this building where the judge and a jury consisting of 10 men and 2 women are already assembled to pass judgment on you. You can't do this to me, yelled Eric. What is this, a kangaroo court? I've got rights. I'm being railroaded. You haven't given me my Miranda. You haven't given me time to present a defense. I claim I was nuts when I created those crimes. You can't condemn a crazy man for anything he did. I need to go to the nut house, not to jail. You probably won't have to spend another day with us, declared Captain Austin. The jury will probably find you guilty and condemn you to death right away. Under the Heinous Crimes Act, you won't have any rights at all. No rights at all. Everybody knows you're guilty. You ain't nuts. You knew what you were doing. Brad, he said, would you ask Attorney Stewart to come in? Brad walked to a door near a corner of the room, opened it, and signaled for someone to enter the room. A distinguished-looking, gray-haired, middle-aged gentleman in a dark blue suit was ushered to a chair near the group. He sat facing Eric. Mr. Spangler, he said, I'm your attorney, Michael Stewart. I don't know whether I can help you. The jury is in the other room and has already heard your case absentia and is ready to make a decision. You will probably be found guilty and condemned to death. The good news is that you will be given a choice for your execution. That is, by hanging, electrocution, injection, gas, or firing squad. The bad news is that you must make a decision. If you don't, it will be made for you. And it will probably be the one that you don't like the most. There is also some talk about botching the execution so that you die at a more leisurely pace. It's possible the sentence will be carried out tonight. What? I never heard of no heinous criminal thing that you're talking about. It sounds like a rush to justice. I ain't guilty. I probably did everything while I was drunk, or under the influence of drunks, or out of my mind. You've got to save me. What can I tell you? What can I admit to? What can I do? I don't want to die in no electric chair and no gas. I don't want no firing squad. I don't want no botching. I don't want nothing. Tell me, what do I got to do? I was talking to the judge, said the attorney. He said, maybe the Heinous Act is unconstitutional. It's never been used before. We don't want to execute anyone who doesn't get due process. He said, maybe if you confess in writing to everything you did and express even a tiny bit of remorse, he could give you 5 lifetime sentences in prison at hard labor with no possibility of parole. He didn't promise. He said, maybe. I'll take it. I'll confess. Give me paper. Give me a pen. I'll confess to everything. I'll say I'm sorry 1,000 times. You need to give every detail, insisted the attorney, even the stuff that police don't know. You must not leave any loopholes that will allow you to squeeze through some sort of a technical plea. You botch this up and you'll probably get the rack. Let me write it all down. I'll give you details you wouldn't believe. Begin writing, said Mr. Stewart. In the meantime, I'll go talk to the judge. If you're lucky, he'll instruct the jury to give you that maximum sentence that I've just described. Eric was given paper and pen, and he began writing at a furious speed. Officers standing at his shoulders would from time to time have him correct a misspelled word or be more clear in what he was writing. His confession, hastily written on 8 sheets of papers, required 30 minutes to scribble. Attorney Stewart returned and said, "The deal has been accepted, and Eric will receive the sentence that the judge has proposed. Brad, you and the other guys take this weasel to Central Precinct and tell them what has been going on here," said Captain Austin. "Hand them the confession he made and let them take over. In the meantime, we'll see whether there's any part of the audience in this theater so that we can resume the play." Brad, accompanied by 2 others who had appeared to be policemen but who actually were actors, left the room as Mr. Austin, who had appeared to be a captain but who actually was another actor, had instructed them. The attorney had been an actor too. It had all been a sham, a sting, and Eric Spangler had been stung bad. One of the actors in the play had recognized Eric as being the #1 criminal who had been sought for so long. Brad, who was actually an officer in the police department as well as an actor for the theater, had used his sprightly mind to dream up and lead the sting. Several of the cast had quickly donned police uniforms, had captured Eric, taken him for a ride around the city, then brought him back to the theater, entering through a side door, and performed the charade that was described above. Brad's purpose in leading this effort had been to avoid much of the delay that occurs nowadays in promptly dispensing justice to criminals. It was felt that the detailed confession would accomplish a great deal to overcome these impediments to justice. It was believed that though the cast would be criticized for their outrageous performances, for extracting a bogus confession, and for the lies they had told, would be forgiven since an actual police officer had led the farce. The specious confession was thrown out. However, because of the additional details it provided, Eric was speedily and legally tried and found guilty of the many crimes he had committed. For many years afterwards, Brad would be kidded as he's still using the 1838 Heinous Crimes Act on other criminals, though it did not and had not ever existed. I hope you enjoyed the story. Thank you for looking. Thank you for listening. Tomorrow, I'll tell you another story. Bye-bye.